Hey y'all, break out your blue suede shoes and come with me because today we're going to be saying thank you very much to the King. That's right, today's show is all about Elvis. So we're going to be taking care of business in my kitchen with a whole meal of Elvis-inspired dishes that I think you're going to love. First up, I'm going to combine two of Elvis's favorite dishes with my cheeseburger meatloaf. It's going to knock your socks off. And on the side, I'm going to be making some crunchy new potatoes. And for my encore, I'm fixing a peanut butter and banana gooey butter cake. And it's truly over the top. So y'all come with me today and don't be cruel because Elvis hadn't left the building just yet. Well, how do y'all like my souvenir from Graceland? Isn't it slimming? Makes me look like Elvis, doesn't it? Speaking of Elvis, today's show is all about Elvis, and I tell you what, you're not going to find a bigger fan than I was of Elvis. And so today I'm cooking things that I think Elvis would have really liked. But the real kicker comes in from the dessert today. There's a group of correction officers down in Alabama, and they faithfully watch my show every Saturday. Well, they sent me an idea, and they call it the Elvis Presley Gooey Butter Cake. So we're going to be doing that later on in the show. But for right now, I think Elvis would love a meatloaf because he liked his hamburger meat. So we're going to start with a meatloaf that we serve at the Lady and Sons. It's called Cheeseburger Meatloaf. It's real simple to make, and it's tasty. So I'm going to put my ground beef in there, and I'd started chopping my onions and my green pepper. And I'll just finish these up. I've got several meatloaf recipes that we use at the restaurant, and I have to say this is probably one of the favorites. All right, now I'm adding some of our house seasoning and some seasoning salt, and we're just going to mix this up. And y'all will notice that I'm putting some ingredients that you don't find in a standard meatloaf, and that's sour cream. I'm going to put a half a cup of sour cream and some Worcestershire and a cup of shredded cheddar cheese. This looks pretty good. All right, and I'm going to have to wash my hands. So for the breading part of this meatloaf, I'm going to use crackers. But I just love the taste of these crackers. And I'm going to need a cup of cracker crumbs. Okay, see how easy that was? I remember the one and only time I ever saw Elvis. Oh my God, yes. It was in 1973, and I didn't have any money for an outfit. So I went to the fabric store and I bought me some fabric because it was very important that I looked good because he might look out there and see me. So I wanted to look really, really good. So I made me some hot pants, real short hot pants, and a shirt that cut down. And I went to the shoe store and bought me a pair of white plastic knee-high boots. Now, I was one hot mama. I don't have to tell y'all he didn't see me. I'll never forget that. But for right now, I'm going to get this meatloaf in this pan. And I want to show y'all a trick. It may be one that I've shared with you before, but I want to share it with you again. Ground beef is greasy, and I don't particularly like a greasy meatloaf. So I'm going to stick 2 pieces of bread in the bottom of my dish because that bread is going to act almost like a sponge, and it's going to soak up all that grease. And then you try to resist eating that greasy bread. All right, so we're going to stick this in a 350-degree oven for about 50 minutes. All right, if I was a betting woman, I would bet that Elvis and I shared a love for potatoes. So I'm gonna make some crunchy new potatoes, and I found these wonderful little small reds, and I'm just gonna throw them in a pot of cold water. And because of their size, they're not gonna take very long. And you always wanna start your potatoes in cold water because they'll cook more evenly. And while they're cooking, I'm gonna be mixing up corn flakes. Now, this is no sugar corn flakes, these are regular. And I formulated this recipe when I was writing my second cookbook, and I really, really like these. Now, I'm gonna mix in with these. Okay, so when we come back, the potatoes should be done, and I'm gonna show you how to turn these soft little sweet new potatoes into crunchy potatoes. And I'm also gonna share with y'all some home movies from Graceland that I wanna show y'all. So y'all don't go anywhere. I'll be right here waiting on you. Before we get started with the potatoes, I want to show y'all something. You know, I told you that I finally got to see Elvis in 1973, and these are the programs from that show. It's really strange that his lips are missing. That very well could have been from me kissing him. He was just the best. All right, our potatoes are done, and now we're going to peel them, and you'll find that these peel real easy with a paring knife. Just like that. All right, now we're going to toss these around in the butter. Oh, I could just eat them just like this, but we're not. We're going to roll them around in these crumbs. I'm going to cook these potatoes in little individual bean pots, so everybody will have their own little pot of potatoes. All right, now our meatloaf is probably almost done, and I have, in honor of Elvis, he was very funny about his hamburger. He wanted it cooked well done. So, because that's the way Elvis liked them, that's the way Paula's cooking them. All right, we're gonna put these in the oven, and I'm gonna take our meatloaf out, and we're gonna turn the oven up to 400 degrees because our potatoes need to cook a little hotter than the meatloaf. So let's see what we've got. Yep, it's nice and done. See, it shrunk a little bit. Now I'm going to cut this up to 400. I'm going to stick our cute little pot of potatoes in the oven, and we're just going to roast those off. We've got the meatloaf out, we've got the potatoes in. Now I want to show y'all this quick and easy sauce. Now we're going to just take a can of cream of mushroom soup, any brand, your favorite brand. This is so quick and easy, you're not going to believe it. We're going to put our cream of mushroom soup in our pot. We serve this at the restaurant about once a week, and the men just love it. All right, we're going to add a cup of milk. I'm going to add it slowly at first to just mix that soup and that milk together so it won't go clumpy on me. And now we're going to add a cup and a half of cheddar cheese to it. And then we're just going to bring that to a ball, and we'll have that to pour on top of our meatloaf, and it's delicious with biscuits. But you know what? I've got some onions here. So, I think I'll do just a few onion tops and throw over in there, and that'll make it a little bit more interesting. Give it a little color, and the flavor won't hurt it either, so there we go. So while our sauce is getting hot, our meatloaf is resting for a little while because it'll slice easier, you know, if we let it rest. But this, I just want to show y'all this. This was like a little piece of heaven. This was Magnolia Lodge down in Crystal River, Florida, and my grandmother and granddaddy owned this. We had wonderful times here. This is where all the wealthy hunter and fishermen would come, and Grandma would cook their catch or their game, whatever it was. She would cook that for their dinner, and it was here that Elvis spent 1 week vacationing, and he sent a postcard saying how much he appreciated and enjoyed everything. And that was a wonderful place, a wonderful part of my childhood. All right, now our sauce is bubbly, and now I got to find a plate to put our meatloaf on. And this has cooled off enough that I think I'm gonna be able to just lift it pretty easily. All right, this is the only spatula I can find. So I'm gonna see if I can't make it work. Look, they're perfect. All right, now you see all of our bread that's full of grease just peeled right off of our meatloaf. So we're gonna slip that over in there. Okay. So we're just gonna put that cheesy sauce on top of that meatloaf. You know, I just think I could have made Elvis so happy. All right, now let's see. I don't think this needs much. Love spring onions. I've got some sliced tomatoes, and I'm fixing to take our potatoes out of the oven. That looks scrumptious. All right, let's see if they're ready. All right. Potatoes are done. Look at that. Is that not fit for a king? I know it. If only Elvis. Let's see what it tastes like. Looks delicious. When we come back, I've got that special Elvis Presley dessert I was telling you about, so y'all don't go anywhere. So this next recipe comes from a group of friends from Lexington, Kentucky. And they watch the show every Saturday, and they write and tell me how much they love it. And they came up with the Elvis Nanner Peanut Butter Gooey Butter Cake. And the recipe is over the top. So I can't wait to share it with everybody. I'm gonna start with a yellow cake mix, 1 egg, and 1 stick of melted butter. Now you can do this with a mixer, or you can do it by hand. This is gonna be the base to our gooey butter cake, so it's gonna be really, really stiff. So we've almost got our crust done up. All right, now we're gonna take our crust and we're gonna just pile it all into a 13 by 9 by 2 pan. So we're just gonna press that out. I started making this years ago. It was the first dessert that I made and sent out on the bag lady routes with the boys. My kitchen and I have done just about every variation there is, but guys and girls from Kentucky, we've never made a peanut butter banana gooey butter cake. All right, now with the filling, I'm gonna put in an 8-ounce block of softened cream cheese, and I'm gonna put a 1/2 cup of peanut butter, and I'm just gonna blend those up together. Oh, those two things are looking delicious. All right, so we're just gonna cream that together like that a little bit. Then I'm gonna add my powdered sugar and just beat that in there. And this is a 1-pound box of powdered sugar. And we're gonna put that whole box in there. All right, and I'm almost done, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and add 2 eggs to it now to just make it a little bit more liquidy so it'll mix up quicker. And when I'm making a gooey butter cake that's got a really gooey center, like pineapple gooey butter cakes, rather than put in 2 eggs, I'll put in 3 because that extra egg helps it thicken up a little bit, and that way it's not so runny. All right, so I think we can finish putting our powdered sugar in. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cut that on low so that my butter won't splash all up in my face. And I'm gonna add some vanilla. A banana flavoring would be good too, but I think our banana is gonna flavor it enough. All right, now we're gonna take 1 banana, and I like to get my bananas going by mashing them in their skin some. So you see what I've done? I've just mashed it a little bit in its skin and given it a little head start. And we're just gonna throw it in there and let the mixer do the rest of the work. Makes banana mashing real easy. I think this is ready. Still got a few chunks of bananas in it, but I think that's gonna make it really good. All right. So we're just gonna pour that in, just spread that out. Gonna cover that crust. And we're gonna let it bake for, gosh, about 45 or 50 minutes. The one thing about gooey butter cakes is you need to get that time down just perfectly, because the name of this is gooey. You wanna be able to, when you shake your pan, that it still moves just a little bit with you. So be careful that you don't overcook it. So we're gonna put this in the oven. And we're gonna bake this on 325. And I've got a pan over here that should be ready. It looks out of this world. Oh my goodness. Look how good. And I think I'm gonna start by slicing this right down the center. And then all I have to do is come to either side and go right down the center again. I was reading somewhere the other day, a few things that Graceland was required to have on hand in the kitchen was a case of orange drink, fresh made homemade banana pudding, hot rolls, biscuits, and the ingredients to put together a meatloaf. Just what we made a few minutes ago. So I think we're on target maybe with some of his likes. And I got some fresh whipped cream, and I got a little mint just to make it pretty. We've kind of combined two of his favorite ingredients into this dessert, or I say we have. The guys and girls from Kentucky have. In fact, Michael's favorite gooey butter cake is the banana gooey butter cake. And he hadn't tasted this double whammy. So I bet he's gonna love it too. Look at that. I'm swallowing hard. So what you say, let's taste it. Because next I've got a real surprise for you. I've got a variation of another one of Elvis's favorite foods. You're gonna love it. A sweet bacon mini BLT sandwich. So don't go anywhere. If there was anybody that ever made the most of Southern cooking, it was probably Elvis Presley. He loved his butter, he loved his bacon. So in memory of Elvis today, I'm gonna show y'all how to put together a bacon, lettuce, and tomato biscuit. Now what's gonna make this special is I have baked our bacon in the oven with brown sugar. We're just gonna bust open our biscuit, put a little mayonnaise on it, and some lettuce, tomato, and some of that sticky brown sugar bacon. What a great way to enjoy a little mini BLT. You won't believe that sweet bacon in there. He would have loved it. You know, it's not every day that an Elvis Presley is born, and whether you're a fan or not, I think that you'll agree that his choice of food was pretty good. He really liked his Southern food, and I think that y'all will love this cheeseburger meatloaf with the cheese sauce and the ranch-flavored crunchy potatoes, and thanks, Kentucky, for an over-the-top peanut butter banana gooey butter cake. Hope y'all try them, enjoy them all. Until next time, America, I send y'all love and best dishes from my kitchen to yours.